This is my friend Theo. They're from the United States of America.
Fancy.
It's far away. And we've been friends online for years. Like almost 4 years now?
Almost 4 years.
Almost 4 years.
Yeah.
And we finally got to meet in person.
It's very exciting.
And I thought since we're in person, we could make a video together about one of our many shared interests.
One of the things we bonded over
One of
originally.
many. Yes. And we'll give you a hint with a prop. If you've seen the new Ghostbusters movie, you'll know that this is the best character, Holtzman. So yes, the topic is Ghostbusters. We both really, really love Ghostbusters, especially the Extreme Ghostbusters cartoon, which we'll talk about after, probably. But first we want to talk about the new movie, the 2016 Ghostbusters. If you haven't seen it already, why have you not seen it yet?
Go see it right now.
Go, stop.
Pause this.
Yes.
Go see the movie, then come back and watch it and agree with us.
Or you could watch this and we'll convince you why you should watch it, and then you'll go see it and you'll have a good time.
Too.
We won't spoil anything. There's no spoilers. We're not going to spoil plot points. We're just going to talk about why it's so good and why we love it and why you should go see it. Because it's one of the best movies I've seen recently, if ever.
It's so good.
It's so good.
It's so good.
I literally went to see it, like, not the day it came out, but like soon after it came out, I went to see it in theaters, and I was like, oh, it's like the trailer's like not that good. It's like probably gonna be like okay. I love Ghostbusters, so I'm gonna go see it, and I love that it's like girl Ghostbusters, but like, is it really gonna be that good?
Yeah.
And then like I came out of the theater after watching it, and I was like, it's so good.
You know, you go into movies expecting it to disappoint you to some degree, especially if you are any kind of minority. And I kept waiting for it to disappoint me, and it never did.
Yeah, that's exactly what I said when I came out of it too. I expected it to, you know, be pretty good, but at some point, like, they would make a joke, or there would be like a plot point, or something that would be like, kind of like, that was disappointing. There was none. That never happened.
Great movie.
Great movie. Like, first of all, like, if you like any kind of action, adventure, fantasy, people fighting monsters, it was just fun. It was like cool props and cool monsters and people like having adventures.
One of the things I like a lot about it is that it proved that like good CGI isn't synonymous with realistic CGI. I think that we've had this trend toward like making CGI dark and gritty and like, oh, it has to look really real, but ghosts aren't real.
Yeah.
So they were like, let's make it like really colorful and fun, but still like great looking.
Yeah, and just like I love like fun designs of like weapons and stuff in like fantasy things.
There's so many
There's
good
so
weapons in
many.
this movie.
It's not just the proton packs. They have so many like fun, and they just like kept getting more fun and more weird throughout the movie. Which also, this isn't really a spoiler, but Holtzman, this character, she's like the inventor of the team. She like makes the weapons, and like throughout the movie, like every time they like fight a new ghost, she's like, okay guys, I'm gonna show you the new weapons I made, and they're just like more weird and more fun, and I love it.
I know.
The way it's advertised is like, ooh, this is Ghostbusters with girls. And I was like, that's cool, because I am all for more female action heroes and more like well done female characters in any sense.
Right.
But I thought like it would sort of be like one of those things where they're like, we're girl Ghostbusters, and like really like we're the girl characters. We're not characters, we're girl characters, which is like so frustrating to me, because it's like, girls are people. Movies and shows and books and things, like girl characters are just so like, they feel more like someone trying to make a girl character than someone trying to make a person. And I was kind of like worried that this movie would like really overdo the like, we're girls and like we're not even people. But like, they were all such good characters. It was watching a movie of like really interesting, real, funny characters that were girls. I
think something that struck me really deeply is that I think this is the first movie which has, first of all, multiple plus-size characters as stars, and second of all, there was not a single fat joke in this movie.
Yeah.
As someone who is plus-size, I go into any movie understanding that like people like me are there to be laughed at. There weren't even any like, oh, this is a character who's like stereotypically fat and they're like always talking about food and they're just like loud and crass and funny. Like, the plus size characters, Patty and Abby, are so wonderful.
Yeah.
They're such real people. You know, they're allowed to be people outside of their size, and that's not something I see in very many movies.
Yeah.
If any movies.
There was never a fat joke, and there was also never the plus size characters commenting on it, being like, oh well, haha, like I shouldn't eat this. There's multiple scenes where they're like all eating, but it's not like, I don't know, it's like they're like, ooh, let's like, we just fought a ghost, let's like order pizza, like, and there's like a joke about like a Chinese food place, but it's never like, haha, you're the person who eats a lot. It was like a joke about how like the guy at the Chinese food place never brought the right order. So like having plus size characters just like eating food like people.
Yeah, and
girl characters eating food like people. Because like a lot of the time I feel like girl characters are like they make comments about food as if like all girls need to like worry about what they're eating and stuff, which is like, I don't know. Ridiculous. And the other thing that was also something that was surprising that there was never a mention of was there was no, like all 4 of these main girl characters are single as far as we know. And there was never ever a mention about being single. The only thing that was like kind of thing is there's one male character who's like their secretary, and one of the girls like has this like not even like a crush, she just thinks he's really pretty.
She's like, he's beautiful.
She doesn't even want to date him, she just thinks he's pretty.
So here's the thing, he's a moron. So he is a deconstruction of the like dumb blonde secretary that is so often played by a beautiful woman. So he's played by a beautiful man,
Chris Hemsworth,
and he is completely incompetent as a human being. He's just a mess.
Just so over the top that it's obviously like a parody.
It's really just he's there for one of the female characters to flirt with.
Anyways, there's that kind of thing, but it's not even her talking about being single and wanting to date him, it's just that she thinks he's pretty. Nobody else at any point says anything about being single, anything about wanting to have a boyfriend, anything about wanting to get married, anything about wanting to have kids. And like, that is so rare to have a movie not only with female characters but about female characters that's not about finding a boyfriend, not about getting married, not about having kids, and it's also not presented as like, well, look at these like ice cold girls, like the ice queen who doesn't want to have a boyfriend and she needs to learn how to love and learn how to like have kids and like be the mom type, and it's like it's never even a thing.
None of them were like, oh, this nerdy girl needs to like have a makeover and find herself. Like they all pretty much none of them dressed like,
none of them dressed sexy. Like Holtzman just like was eccentric and wore weird clothes, and then like
wore crop tops and overalls, and it was beautiful.
Yeah, and like trench coats and weird goggles. And then like Abby just dressed like she wore Converse and like
sweaters.
Jeans and sweaters, and like Erin wore like awkward pantsuits with weird bow ties because she was a teacher, and then she just wore like sweats. And Patty wore like
cardigans,
really like glittery stuff, but
she was also like quite stylish.
And I also appreciate that she was like not just plus size but just really tall and big and broad shouldered, and she was the one who wore like skirts and glittery stuff, and it wasn't a joke. It wasn't like, haha, look at that big girl wearing a skirt. It was like, that's what she wants to wear and she looks good.
It wasn't like a parody.
Yeah, it wasn't like
none
a
of
joke.
them were dressing like a parody of anyone.
I find that like in a lot of movies and shows and media, especially when there's only 1 or 2 girl characters and a cast of like a lot of characters, the girls fall into like 1 or 2 very specific character types, and like there's lots of character types I really like that only ever seem to be male characters. The weird scientist, socially awkward person. They made jokes that I feel like usually female characters don't get to make, and they had like interactions that I feel like female characters don't usually get to have. Abby and Holtzman were like making like dumb poop jokes, and Erin was like, oh my god, you guys are so mature, but like
it wasn't like, oh my god, act more ladylike. It was just like, you guys are 5.
Yeah, a lot of the time in things I feel like the male characters get to make like the dumb jokes, and then the girls like, you guys are so mature. But like having Erin say you guys are so mature to like 2 girls making dumb jokes.
If you give more girl characters a space, it allows them to have more personality. They don't always have to be the voice of reason, because you can have one girl who's the voice of reason and one girl who's a mess.
I feel like there's 2 kinds of female characters you usually get. The like strong, smart voice of reason who thinks boys are dumb, and the completely dumb, blonde, ditzy girl. And like that's the 2 extremes, and you never have the in-between, which is kinda dumb and kinda reasonable and funny and fun and doesn't take everything seriously but also is smart. And that's like I feel like most girls in real life, because that's most people in real life.
Yeah.
But I feel like very rarely did female characters get to be that, and in this they did.
It turns out that girls aren't that different.
It turns
They're
out
not
that
mysterious.
Turns out that girls are people.
We also have some pretty explicit subtext that
Oh yeah.
Holtzman is gay.
So is her actress.
I believe the actresses who play the other characters have been on Twitter, like, promoting the idea that Holtzman is gay.
I think one of the producers or creators, I can't remember, I read an interview with someone who was involved in the production, like the director or something, who said that, like, yeah, Holtzman's gay.
Holtzman's gay.
Holtzman's pretty gay. Yeah, Holtzman was great.
Holtzman isn't a stereotype in either direction.
Characters
Holtzman
in
is
media,
neither,
yeah.
like, stereotypical butch or a lipstick lesbian.
Yeah.
She doesn't wear makeup. She has long hair, but she ties it up. She dresses uniquely. She doesn't fall into, like, one of the two camps that people think exist for gay women.
Which is a lie.
Don't believe the trailers when they say that Patty is street smart.
Yeah,
I don't know who made the trailers.
Are really on the topic of Patty. So basically, there's 4 of them, like in the original Ghostbusters, and 3 of them are scientists. And like Aaron's like a professor, and they like work at universities and do science. And
2 of them are sort of professors. They work at a really shitty university.
Yeah. And then the 4th one is Patty, who works in the subway, and she joins them after like she sees a ghost in the subway. And her line, like where it sounds like she's saying, like, "Oh, I'm the street smart one." She's like, "Yeah, I know New York really well, and I read a lot of nonfiction." And then as you like see her character, it's like obvious that I know New York she knows history. She's like a history buff.
Every building they go to where there's a ghost, she'd be like, "Oh yeah, so like this is the history of this building. This is probably why the weird stuff is happening."
There's like a big difference between her being like, "You guys are like book smart and I'm street smart," and that's kind of like a weird stereotype that it's like, oh, the black woman is the street smart one and not the educated one, but it's not that. Like that's what the trailer makes it sound like, but it's not. She's also really educated, but instead of being in science, she's educated in history.
She works in the subway, yes, which is, you know, she isn't a professor, but as, you know, we are people who are going into the humanities. It's so hard to find a job in the humanities.
Yeah.
So it's completely reasonable for a woman who has an education in the humanities in history to be working a low-end job to make ends meet.
So it's like 4 educated, interesting women who are funny and fun and smart and not stereotypes and not boring.
And they're not being pitted against each other in
Yeah.
any way.
Yeah.
They're just supporting each other.
Yeah. They have conflict because there's a story and it's interesting, but it's a conflict that feels like real people having conflict in their lives and not just like 2 girls fighting over something, you know?
Yeah, they never fight over anyone. It was really nice that like it was very clear that the only person who is at all attracted to Kevin, the male character, is Aaron.
Yeah.
Like nobody else.
No one else
Everyone
even
else
thinks
is
he's
like,
attractive.
Kevin? Really?
Kevin's kind of dumb and like
Kevin's a mess. Come on. He's
like Kevin, really? If one of the reasons why you don't want to watch this, or you're like, oh, I don't know if it's gonna be good, is because you're not into remakes, and you're like, why did they remake something with men with women instead of just making a new thing with women?
It's not a direct remake.
Yeah, it's not a direct remake, and also, if this is what it takes to make good sci-fi fantasy adventure with good female characters, then you know what? Remake a bunch of movies, because no one is doing this. No one is making good movies featuring many female characters being interesting and doing things that men do. No one else is making these movies, so if the way we have to make people make interesting female characters is make them remake movies with men, then at least they're making them. And if someone is going to make a really good sci-fi fantasy thing with a cast full of women that's not a remake, I'll love that. But if this is what it takes...
But yeah, there isn't any of that.
There isn't
right
any
now.
of that.
So like, to get people interested in making that kind of movie, we need to be showing support for this movie.
Yeah.
And other movies like this.
Yeah.
So please go see Ghostbusters. Go see it. If you like it, see it again.
Yeah, I've seen it twice.
Buy the DVD. I've seen it twice.
I'm gonna buy the DVD.
I'm gonna buy the DVD because I want all the special features.
And even before this movie came out, I was a Ghostbusters fan, so I probably would have gone and seen the remake no matter what. But this was the best remake they could have made. The other thing about remakes is if you're gonna make a remake, at least do something different. You know, if they made a remake and it was just 4 men, the same kind of 4 men doing the same thing, then what's the point?
If it had been a direct remake, like they remade the same plot, that's kind of boring.
Yeah.
But this isn't either of those
It's
things.
just taking the fun universe of Ghostbusters and telling a new story with it.
Yeah.
And why not? People like that universe. I like that universe.
You have seen the new Ghostbusters remake and you liked it and you love Ghostbusters with scary ghosts and
Terrifying
diversity,
ghosts.
why not check out Extreme Ghostbusters,
Yes.
the 1997, it ran for like one season?
Yeah, 140 episode season. In the
show.
90s. So this is our favorite,
Our
favorite
favorite
installment in the
Ghostbusters.
Ghostbusters universe is Extreme Ghostbusters, the 1997 cartoon.
It's very niche. Nobody knows about it except us and like 3 other people on the internet.
Yep. And I made a whole post about it on Tumblr, so if you want to read more about that show, I'll link to it below. But it's a really, really good cartoon, so if you're a big Ghostbusters fan and you want more Ghostbusters content with really excellent characters, then you should watch the 1997 cartoon. But first, go watch the new Ghostbusters movie. So yeah, the conclusion of this video is that it's a really good movie and you should go watch it. So thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this and you like listening to me talk about things, then maybe subscribe and like this video and comment down below. Have you watched this movie? Did you like this movie? Are you a Ghostbusters fan? Have you watched Extreme Ghostbusters? Because if not, you should. It's a great cartoon.
Do it.
And
Do it.
also, I will put Theo's social media in the description as well, so you can follow them because they're really cool.
Yay. Do the thing.
Yeah. We've covered a lot of why it was so good.
Holtzman and Patty are dating.
Holtzman and Patty are dating. Aaron and Abby are dating.
Aaron and Abby are dating. They're gonna be little old ladies together.
It's gonna be so good.